I was playing basketball against Skins, it'd be the softest defense we ever played. Ever.
Oh yeah, I'm straight zone defense, dude. Just
That's your guy. No, that's your guy. That's your guy.
I can't grip him. He's too damn sweaty.
Oily, sweaty, all of it. Okay. Welcome back to Not a Strong Start, a movie podcast by three Latino filmmakers that love to talk about movies, television, today, video games, and anything else we like to talk about. I am Daniel de Sangre.
Seems like you forgot that for a second, Dan, who you are. I am Jose Ramos.
I'm Chuck, and here we go. Everybody else did this, so I'm doing this too. I'm Chuck.
You gotta make sure you fill your beat, man. Anyways, in this episode, we're gonna talk about video game adaptations. So on deck, we have Chuck with the current event. Go.
Oh, wow. How about that? All right on the spot. Okay, I got one. So season 3 trailer for The Boys dropped, I think today. So a lot of stuff going on. Did you guys happen to see it before I get into it?
No, I need to see that.
I haven't either, man. I haven't either.
Breaking news. Yeah, so yeah, The Boys, so for everybody out there, it's a comic adaptation. And so, dude, I fucked this up, dude. Can we start over? Yeah, it looks good, but there was something that I did want to kind of touch on. It looks like
That's what you wanted to touch on? Well, I was gonna say, we didn't start off on a strong start, but even the middle part's even lacking. So I don't even know if we're gonna end this strong. The whole thing is just weak. That's we saw. It's sort of like when I'm playing defense against the people with skins. I don't really want to try.
I couldn't think of the guy's. I couldn't think of the main character's name. It just popped out. It just dropped out of my head.
Oh,
Butcher.
Oh, is he the main? No, the main kid is the.
He's not the main one, but he's like the asshole of the humans.
Is it?
Yeah,
is it Bill?
Star Trek.
It's not Bill, is it? Oh no, that's Bill the Butcher from Gangs of New York.
I was gonna say, are you talking about Daniel Day-Lewis over here?
Give me the blood, Eli. Give me the blood.
Can you imagine if Daniel Day-Lewis was doing The Boys season 3? Like when I know he goes through like random times of when he's doing movies. He hasn't done anything in like 7-8 years. It was the last time. When was the last movie he's done?
He did something that I surprisingly didn't really care for. I don't even remember what it was.
It wasn't There Will Be Blood?
To do it because like he's so method that he would need to get superpowers in order to do the role. Oh,
and that's what I wanted to touch upon. Was
why'd you have to do air quotes for touch?
Yeah,
why did touch get air quotes?
For the listeners, I'm doing air quotes. Touch, air quote, touch upon. He's got superpowers. It looks like he took Compound V. The main dude, Butcher.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's not the main dude. The main dude
is the main dude.
Is not Randy Quaid. It's
why
the other
is
one.
Like Dewey popping in my head?
Is it Dewey?
It's like. You see, look, this is, and actually, I don't blame you. Like, I feels like it's been forever since the last season ended of like The Boys. I feel like we've been waiting for the new season for so long that I can see why you might have forgotten the name of a character.
Yeah, it is. It's Billy Butcher. That's his name. Yeah, I was right. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's not the main character.
he's kind of the main. Who's the main character?
It's
the nerdy one.
Yeah, it's Quaid's son. Real life son.
Jack Quaid.
Yeah, there you go. Jack Quaid is the main character.
And I can't even think of his name right now.
It's been that long, but here's the crazy part. The show's good. The show's amazing.
No, it's really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Huey.
just
Baby Huey.
Huey.
Oh,
and you said
close.
Dewey.
I said Dewey.
Dude.
You should have said Louie. Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Come on. I feel like Huey, Dewey, and Louie are due for a new interpretation. You know what I'm saying? Like we should see a new
DuckTales? Is it
new DuckTales, man?
Yeah, why not, dude?
Or do they have one already? I think they have one.
I thought they did have one that came out like a year ago or two, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I heard it was pretty good. I didn't see it, but anyway, so season 3, The Boys trailer drop, current event. Boom, you heard it here first. Check it out.
Well, I'm excited for it so much. I'm just gonna make sure that I write down all their character names ready to go.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. Just like Euphoria. Did you guys watch Euphoria?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, that had like a 2-year hiatus.
Yeah.
So when it came back, I mean, I loved it. It came back. I was like, I have no idea who these people are. And I was like, wasn't she pregnant? I thought they were together. And I'm like, I have no idea. I still liked it. It was a good show.
Oh yeah, I did too. But you're probably thinking like, why is Mary Jane in this? Like, where's Spider-Man again in this? No, that's Zendaya, man. Yeah, I know. Euphoria season 2 was good. I liked
Yeah, it was really
more than
good.
season
Yeah.
1. Yeah. I mean, it was
That was
COVID, man. It delayed production on so many things. They did that bonus episode for Euphoria, right?
Yeah, I
bonus
gave up on it. I couldn't watch them. There's 2 of them, right? With Zendaya.
Yeah, I
and,
didn't watch them.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either. It was boring.
It
But
was.
season 2 was really good.
Season 2 was really good, man. I thought they redeemed themselves a little bit. I had a little bit of issues with season 1, but season 2, I dug a lot more.
Yeah, I had an issue with the finale of season 1 where it was basically a music video for Zendaya. That was so stupid, dude. I almost was done. I'm like, I was like, really? They did not stick the landing, Daniel. They did not.
No, they did not, Charles. No, they did not. Anyways, we need to keep going. So, talking about video games, Jose, what was your personal experience with video games? I know out of the 3 of us, you're the main dude. You're a video game guy, or guru, some would say.
Your time to shine, Jose. It's your time to shine.
You're a guru, our video game guru. So, what's your experience?
I mean, I've always been playing them since I was a kid. I had the Atari at one point, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, all the iterations of the PlayStation. So it's something I've always played in general. And, I remember as a kid, sometimes when you see those cubed out characters in those blurry scenes, which, I mean, back then, those graphics were amazing, but like right now they're terrible. But I would remember seeing myself being like, oh man, if they made this into a movie, that would be so like good, so awesome. So that's my personal experience with video games. Is like it's always been, to this day I still play video games, but it's always been a part of my life.
Nice. And how about you, Chet?
I don't play much video games anymore, which is kind of funny because I would like to. I just don't. But when I was younger, like that was the way me and my brothers connected, was playing video games, and so we had a Nintendo, blowing into the cartridge, putting it in, doing a little spin, throwing some salt over our shoulder, boom, just power goes on. So Sega Genesis was my jam. That was my peak video game experience. Altered Beast. I think there was Contra might have been on there, maybe, right? Was it Contra? No, Strider.
Contra was Nintendo.
Yeah, Strider. He was Genesis. Yeah, that was my jam. So once after Genesis, like I had like all the PlayStations, or my little brother had them, so I would kind of play. But yeah, like I kind of lost my youth a little bit there. But what about you, Daniel?
Nice. Yeah. For me, I was more of a Nintendo kid. So I remember having the original Nintendo. I was still young, but I remember having it. I remember having the gold cartridge of Zelda, The Legend of Zelda. You had to sit there and blow it. What I would hate is we'd put it in, and then even though you're saving your progress, it would just delete it, and I'd have to start over again. It's like, damn it!
You have to like press pause and like, Mom, like don't turn the TV on, leave it off.
Yo, seriously. So we'd leave it on, but then you can turn off the TV screen, but still leave it still running.
Yeah,
so we had to do something like that. But I remember Super Nintendo. I was totally into Super Nintendo. I was really into Zelda. Zelda was one of my favorite growing up. Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 3 was the jam. They even had a whole movie with Ben Savage. You remember that? It was a video game one where they were going across country, him and like 2 other kids, because his little brother was like a prodigy.
He was really good at it, right? He was like really good. Yeah.
I can't. What was The Wizard? I think it was called The Wizard.
I think it was called. Wow, good job, Dan. It was called The Wizard. Yeah, and they took him like across country or something.
Yeah, and he played the competition. I don't remember if he won or not. Kid probably sucked, but hey.
Yeah. I think he died.
Did he?
He died?
No, I don't know.
During the game, while playing, he went so hard that he
He
died.
went so hard, he just exploded.
Always be careful for the Goombas. They get you every time. Yeah.
But then it's funny you mentioned not being able to save and then having to shut off the game. So funny story. I remember this is back in the Xbox One days. I had bought and played this game called Mass Effect. It's a story-driven game, but it was the first game I ever played where you have to make decisions in the game, and it can completely change the narrative. So the whole story, it was like the Goosebumps, like pick your adventure, and you had to make choices, and they weren't very easy. Like it was very gray area choices. It wasn't black and white. And I remember getting to a decision where it was like, I can only save one. It was a Spider-Man decision. I can only save one person. Do I save this one? Do I save this one? And I didn't know what to do. I was like filled with anxiety. I was like, who do I pick? Who do I pick? I shut it off. That system was on for 2 days. I went to school. I came back. I would be like, I don't know who to choose. Like I did not know what to make decision. I mean, luckily my parents didn't know because that could not have helped the electricity bill. But it
Man,
just reminded me of that.
You had a real moral bit, like your moral plight was right there, man. Such a young age.
I did. Someone had to die, and I didn't know who I was gonna choose.
Dude, I remember I got the Sega Dreamcast. Remember the Sega Dreamcast? I literally bought the system just for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. That was my favorite fighting game ever, and I got so damn good at it. But I remember I bought the system. The rest of the game sucked. I don't remember anything else that was good on it. But I literally bought it just for Marvel vs. Capcom 2. You know, the things we go to it. Mortal Kombat was another one that we're addicted to. Loved Mortal Kombat. Man.
What did that come out on first? Do you remember? It was like a huge deal. Was it?
I think
Super
it was
Nintendo?
Super Nintendo. Yeah, I don't think the original one came out on Nintendo. I think it was Super Nintendo.
It was Super Nintendo, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I remember one of the very first games that like we wanted so bad. And, you know, I remember, my mom finally gave it to us when we thought we had no other gifts left. And it was Shadows of the Empire, Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, Super Nintendo. That game was so badass. Or was it Nintendo 64? I think it was Nintendo 64. It was one of those. It was so good, man. That game was so fun. It was
Yeah,
cool.
Oh, go ahead.
Good. I was gonna say you never know what games are gonna get you. Like I remember for Super Nintendo, I was addicted for so long to this terrible game. It was Bill Lambert's Kombat Basketball, and it's this basketball player, Bill Lambert, who was known as being a dirty player, played for the Pistons. I believe.
Bill Lambier.
Yeah, and then so it was in the future, and it was his combat basketball, and he beat the shit out of players and takes the ball from them. So you end up with 100 points because you just beat the shit out of the other team, and it was highly addicting. But it's like you never know the most random games that can like catch your attention.
Yeah. Speaking of getting the shit beat out of them, I think I had mentioned it to you guys before. I was in love with Mortal Kombat. Right. And I was pretty good at it. And so I used to go to like this liquor store down the street and I would play Mortal Kombat. And this like cholo gangster dude comes in, he puts his quarter in, he's like, I got next, homie. And I was like, okay, whatever, right? So I got, Sub-Zero. This fool comes out with like Raiden, right? Long story short, I destroyed him. And me and my boy are like laughing, like, he walks outside and he's like, what's up? Let's do it for real. And I'm like, what? And he's like, come on, well, you think you're badass? Let's go. And I'm like, dude, and even to shorten it even more, I walked out and got my ass beat. But whatever, Mortal Kombat, dude.
Hey, at least you didn't waste your quarter.
Yeah, imagine while you were out there about to fight him, someone comes in and puts a quarter in the ground. I got next. I'm
gonna beat his ass too, doing like the same like Blanca move or something. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, it was an ass kicking. I didn't bleed, but I lost.
So. Oh yeah. All right. So what are your guys' personal opinion on video game adaptation movies, right? So we know us being video game, we obviously had a nice background. It helped shape who we are, a lot of our personality on the video games we played, what type of interest we're in. But when they actually make movies about the video games, how good are they? Go ahead, Chuck.
Oh yeah, they're not. They suck. All of them. Jose, you being our video game guru, I challenge you to give me one good video game movie adaptation.
Okay, I can give you a recent one right now. I actually don't remember the title, but it was a Netflix show based off of
Well, that's a good start.
You're talking about Arcane, right?
There we go.
Okay, that
Okay,
was good.
that
That
was
was
really
good.
good. Another one that actually, and it's the reboot of the old one, but the newest Tomb Raider actually was a pretty good
Mm.
movie. Besides it being an adaptation of of a video game. Uh, But the fact that it's so hard to think of some, it reiterates your point that overall they haven't been very successful. I think, at least my personal feelings on it is, as I mentioned, when I was a kid, seeing these like janky like graphics, I was like, I want to see this on a big screen and see how good it is and all of that stuff. So when the first like Mortal Kombat came out, terrible movie by the way, but the excitement of seeing it on screen, that it has a nostalgia value to it. But I feel now that video game companies, they first of all, graphics have gotten so much better with the systems, and video game companies have invested so much on the narrative aspects of their games, of hiring good writers, creating a story, creating a world, that now when I see these movies on the big screen, it's like, eh, that was better in the video game. The
Yeah.
story was better. That scene was better in the video game. So I think that's a big problem that they're running into now is, what can you give me that I didn't already get from the video game? And in the video game, I had control over that narrative on
Right.
top of it being a good narrative.
And you don't get anxiety about it anymore?
No, no, now it's like they can all die now.
Yeah, you know what's funny is that my brother, he loves video games. He plays everything, and the stories and graphics are so good. I'm pretty sure his wife will actually sit there and watch him play because she's so invested in the story of some of the games he's playing. So, I think you're totally right on that one. So,
Yeah,
You
it
know,
is, man.
I
Like sometimes I'll play with my brother on that, especially when it's like those big long journeys, those storylines. We'll
your
kind of
brother?
swap off. Yeah. Yes. All right, I'm going to do another white dissolve.
No,
Dan
you're
has a brother.
hey, you
Yes.
kept me on the freeze. You're keeping this one.
So yes, my brother, as we're sitting here playing like those long journey games, right? Those big long storylines, something like a God of War. We like just watching each other play. So we'll kind of swap off because we want to know more about the storyline. It's
Mm,
fun, man. And like what you're saying, Jose, to go along with our episode 4, the reboots, remakes, and
Mhm.
reimaginings, it kind of feels a little bit like that with these movies. We got a really good storyline, we got a really good interpretation of these stories, and now it feels like they're just kind of remaking it for the big screen, and
yeah.
sometimes that's why it suffers. But anyway, sorry, go ahead, Jose.
No, I actually forgot what I was gonna say. I got so into what you were
I
saying, I completely forgot.
Speaking of a good story, the last game that I actually played, which was like 6 years before the last time I played, was Red Dead Redemption, right?
Okay.
And it's a great game, right? So I got into it, I was playing it, and then my little brother came over one day, and he was maybe like 11 at the time. So he's like, "Oh, can I play video games?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, go ahead, dude." So, it only saves one game on there. So he comes out of my room like 8 hours later. He's like, "Oh, hey, I beat Red Dead Redemption for you, so it's cool." And I'm like, "Dude, I put like 20 hours into that already." He's like, "Yeah, it was a pretty good ending. I was gonna call you, but
What a dick! Like what a dick!
but he
Like,
thought he was doing me a favor. He's like, "Hey, I beat it for you, man. You're welcome." And I'm like, "I'm done with video games, dude." And I'm like,
he's like,
"Forget it.
he's like,
I'm
now
out."
buy me lunch. Now buy me
Yeah.
lunch. I'm not gonna buy you lunch. That's the best part, man. Dude,
And then
yeah.
you're like, all right, now go in there and play the first 20 hours again and leave me the last
And
8.
then yeah, that's what I should have made him do. He probably would have did it too. So,
Yeah, it
anyways,
happens, man. So, okay, so we already talked about some of the exceptions, right? Some of the movie. Chuck, can you think of any movie at all that was remotely good, or how about some that were so bad that you still enjoy going back to and watching?
oh, I'm so glad you asked me that. Because yeah, no, I can't think of a good one, but one that's so bad that I love it is Street Fighter with Van Damme because he plays Guile who's American, right? And they will say it's like, yeah, it makes total sense.
So accurate. It's so accurate.
Like And then it's got Miklo from Blood In, Blood Out plays Ken, I think, right?
Yep. He plays
Which makes
Ken.
total sense. Yeah, no, I love that movie. You know, like I hate, or maybe I hate it so much that I love it. It's so bad, but when it comes on, or if I got an opportunity to see it, dude, I'm game, literally. So,
Raul Julia gets you every time. Every
R.I.P.
time.
Raul Julia for sure.
Oh,
Playing
man.
the Mad Russian. And then
The
you
Mad
have
Russian
Blanc.
has a Latino, right? He's Latino,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Oh yeah. Raul Julia is Latino.
The
And then you have
casting of
Blanca. Man, Blanca was so bad in the movie, man. It's Lou Ferrigno type quality of makeup. It was horrible. Like, have you seen it recently, like in the last couple of years?
I
Be
haven't.
honest.
I can't even remember Blanca. Like he comes out at the end, right? Like they're
Yeah.
experimenting on him or
It,
something.
it,
Yeah.
it was his friend. Like it was his friend that was getting. It was very Winter Soldier storyline. It was his
Oh,
friend that was being experimented on, and
that's
then when he
right.
goes to try to rescue him, whatever reason, he has orange hair, which makes no sense, and then green skin, and he's a monster. Why? Why were they doing that? Like, why did Raul Julia look and say, "We're gonna make this guy motherfucking Incredible Hulk"? Why? Why? Like, I don't know.
God, I gotta watch that movie
And
right
then they threw
now.
in so many characters like Cammy. Remember that? They just started just throwing in just random characters, and it's just like,
Oh, the
why,
new
man?
ones too. The Native American guy was in there too, right?
Yeah, he was in there too. Like, because
Yeah.
Cammy was newer, and I remember they didn't even have like any real effects except for what is it? Ryu did his little thing like for like a brief like
Hadouken.
2 frames. Yeah, for 2 frames you saw his power, and it's just like, and you had to sit there, rewind it, and pause it. And it's like, is that really it? Like, is that it? That's the best you got. They must have blown their entire budget on the actors. They
Van
had to
Damme's,
have,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
They had to have.
The casting on that was like so bad that like Scarlett Johansson would be proud at the like level of casting that they had in that movie.
I know, seriously. Okay, how about you, Jose? Is there any that are so bad that you could think of that you enjoy going back to?
I mean, it would be the Mortal Kombat,
Wait,
the
which one?
original.
The original.
The original. I mean, the new one is a better movie by far over the first one, but I will watch the first one just because the nostalgia aspect as a kid makes it like a guilty pleasure, but it's horrible.
It is, man. I remember watching in the movie theaters, and then when they had Scorpion and Sub-Zero come out, everybody was screaming, and they were right there on a boat, and they kind of step out, and they have the disco music and everything playing for it. I mean, it was fun, man. I agree with you. Goro was weird looking. That he was a very weird looking prosthetic makeup job that they did for that. But I do remember Johnny Cage going down and punching him in the nutsack, and everybody's going, "Yeah, punch him in the nuts!"
I've
That
been
was
waiting
fun.
for that all movie.
Dude, we really did, man. His character was actually kind of funny. When you do go back and watch Mortal Kombat, you know, his character was pretty good. I don't know who that actor was, but he was pretty good in it.
Hmm.
Yeah. Have you seen it recently, Chuck, or no?
I haven't. I love it though. It's Mortal Kombat and Street
Street
Fighter,
Fighter.
but it's got Van Damme, dude.
I
So
always felt like I don't know about for you guys, but I always felt like when it was growing up with the video games, and it even carried over to when the movies first came out, you were Team Street Fighter or you were Team Mortal Kombat. And even though we'd play both, people that were more no, fuck you, Street Fighter's better. And I'd be like, fuck you, Mortal Kombat. And when the movies came out, because I was Team Mortal Kombat.
I was Mortal
Um,
Kombat, yeah.
yeah, so when the movie came out, I'm like, hell yeah, Mortal Kombat. And I remember I went with a couple of buddies that were Team Street Fighter, and they walked out. They're like, that movie was good. And I was like, no. Look at my face and tell me it was good. They're like, it was good. It was good. And they're just kind of like looking away at all you fucking liars. That's a
Yeah,
fucking
I was
biased
definitely
opinion.
yeah, I was definitely the video game Mortal Kombat, but the movie Street Fighter. It's obviously a way worse movie, but for some reason it just has a special place in my heart. I have no idea why. So I'd have to go to therapy to find out.
I think I know why. Because you also enjoy campy horror movies. Is that fair?
That's true. Yeah, that's totally
Yeah.
fair.
And but
You
in all
do enjoy
honesty,
Van Damme.
I enjoy them too. So sometimes it's fun to watch cheap bad movies like The Room.
Yeah.
I love watching The Room with Tommy Wiseau. I love it. It's a freaking comedy to me, man. It's so bad, and I want to get into that movie on another episode. But I totally hear you. How about you, Jose?
I mean, I was definitely Team Mortal Kombat. I say I've played a lot of the Mortal Kombats. Fighting games are not my like cup of tea, but if I had to play, it would be Mortal Kombat. I played Street Fighter one Street Fighter, I think, ever. And I was like, this isn't it. No, like I'm going back to Mortal Kombat. Like if I'm not able to like remove someone's entrails like through their ears, like I'm just not happy.
Dude, the fatality. Okay, so here's the serious question for you guys. Who is your favorite Mortal Kombat character to be?
Scorpion.
Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero.
Yeah.
Mine actually, when I first started off, it was Scorpion, and then
Sonya?
I ended up going to Kung Lao. They made him so much cooler in the later ones where he had
Yeah.
the razor
hat,
the hat, man. There was so many cool combos with them that I used to use. And there was one particular game, I don't remember what Mortal Kombat version it was, but like Liu Kang died. Like he died before the video game, so he wasn't even in it. So Kung Lao learned how to use like his kick, but it was like a modified version. That game was so badass. That one was fun. But okay, so what kind of movies, ones that haven't been adapted yet, would you guys want to see in the future? Which one would you want to see them tackle? Jose, I'll let you go first.
Basically, I think to avoid like some of the issues that they're running into now when they're trying to recreate a story or something of a video game, I think one way to get around it is do video games that have already built this expansive world and timeline in it. Kind of like with Star Wars. Uh, there's so many timelines you can hit with it that you can create original content while still being faithful overall. And no Jar Jar adaptation. No, but games, for example, there's a game called Destiny that's been around for like 7 years. It's on the second iteration, a lot of DLCs. They've created this expansive world where you can touch original stories. Mass Effect, the one I mentioned earlier, they also created this expansive world where it's like, okay, you can stay true to what the content itself was while creating an original story and not touching anything that's already been told. So you're providing your audience something new and fresh.
Okay, so since Mass Effect you've mentioned twice, tell me a little bit about that storyline. Like for our audiences that have never heard of it, that are maybe interested in playing it, what is the story about?
Well, Mass Effect basically where it starts again. This is one of the games where you affect like the story and all of that. You it starts off where you know aliens exist. We have gotten this technology that allows us to travel along the galaxy very quickly. So there's basically like your United Nations of like aliens, and um, we're the first human now is going to be able to join basically uh the police, the galactic police, is going to be able to join them as the first human. And there's an impending doom that's coming, that's threatening everything that everyone built. I'm trying to give this without giving anything away. But basically, every decision you make in game one, game two affects and changes the story all the way through game three. So that's something you haven't seen in video games before, where something you decided in the first game can completely change something in the third game that
It's like
came
a
out
Mass
many years
Effect.
later. Yes.
Or a butterfly effect, some would
Uh,
say.
but no, that's basically it because it's you have all these alien races. It's got all different galaxies and all of that. You can find little stories and work off of that.
Okay. How about you, Chuck? I know you haven't played a ton of games recently, but is there anything, even past ones that you haven't seen that you'd be interested in seeing?
Yeah, of course. Easy. Mike Tyson's Punch Out. And you can cast Mike Tyson still because he's still in pretty good shape. And we can get Tom Holland to play Little Mac. Boom.
Tom Holland. Yeah.
He would beat Tom Holland.
Yeah. No CG required. Just keep them at the exact
Just
same height.
keep
Fit right
them the
in.
same. Yeah, keep them all the same.
So do you see it as like a boxing tournament, sort of like Bloodsport, something like that, or is it what kind of fake background storyline can you give them?
Kind of like best of the best, I think, like a tournament
Mm,
style. You don't have to
okay.
have everybody in there. Definitely Von Kaiser, Glass Joe.
Glass Joe. You need Glass Joe. I mean, you can't have the game without Glass Joe.
Uh, King Hippo.
King Hippo, man. King Hippo would be
I don't know how they're
awesome.
gonna do that one, but
I don't know. I mean, they did Colin Farrell's Penguin, right? So like,
yeah.
I'm sure there's a way to make it work, man.
Yeah, that's my vote.
Okay.
What if they have it where it's a video game tournament where he's so good at Punch Out, kind of like earlier we were talking about, and he makes it all the way to the end, but the surprise is at the end he actually has to box Mike Tyson to win.
And he just gets annihilated. He just destroyed. It's not like Rocky where he had heart. No, he just gets his ass annihilated. 2 punches. The first one is like, oh shit. And you do one of those slow-mos where the spit's slowly coming out of the mouth. And then the second one just boom out.
Sends them to the multiverse.
Sends them to the there you go. So it's part of the same universe, right? It's canon now.
Exactly.
Hey,
Dude,
I like where you're going with that,
Hollywood,
Chuck.
give us a call.
Dude, Chuck, great call on that movie, man. Great storyline you
man.
just pitched us.
Yeah, it was a team effort.
Of course, man. I think for mine, I'd have to go God of War. I just read that they're actually looking to adapt a television series about it. So they're actually starting to pitch that, but they haven't actually done it yet. So technically, this still counts, Chuck. Technically, my pick still counts because not technically adapted yet.
Pitch your story, Dan.
All right.
Let them know.
I know. So the story of God of War, which is super badass, is that the main character's name is Kratos, and he's a Spartan badass whose family gets killed by the Greek gods. So he goes to take on against Ares, the god of war, and just goes on a massive ass-kicking journey just to beat everybody. And it's badass. It's super cool. The graphics have always been insane. They've had multiple storylines, sequels, I mean, that have come out, and the storylines just get more and more insane. I think the last one started introducing Norse gods, which was actually pretty cool. Have you ever played those ones, Jose? God of War?
No, I actually own the latest God of War, but I haven't played it yet.
They're really cool, man. I think those ones you dig, you know, it's really fun. Okay, guys, so what is on the queue? Who wants to go first? Chuck breathed first, so he gets to go first.
Yeah.
I'm watching All of Us Are Dead on Netflix. It's like a Korean zombie TV show, like pretty much a bunch of high school kids. It's pretty good. It's really good, actually. So it's like 10 or 12 episodes. Hey, Train to Busan, that's Korean too, right?
The original one was, yeah.
Dude, shout out to Korean zombies, dude. They do a good job.
They're on the road.
Is that racist?
No,
right?
No, dude, Korean filmmaking has been phenomenal, man. They've been really good lately. Parasite, like, have you guys seen that one?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that movie's amazing. I love Parasite. You know, it absolutely was deserving of winning the Academy Award. It was amazing, but we'll get in another episode. But
yeah,
how
check
about
it
you,
out.
Jose?
Check it out. Yeah.
How about you, Jose?
I finished it. I liked it. That was definitely a good show. Well, I'll probably be watching this week, and it's funny because you mentioned the trailer at the beginning of the episode, but The Boys released a cartoon series called The Boys Diabolical on Amazon, and it's like animated. Each episode is an animated story set in that world. So it's like cartoons, but just like super violent for adults.
I didn't even know that came out already.
Yeah, it came out like a week ago, but I haven't been able to try it. It's called The Boys Diabolical.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll have to check it out, man. I've been lately on a nice classic binge where I've been going back and watching some really good classics, things that kind of gave me that nostalgic feeling. The next one I have on the docket is Alien. I love Alien. I always end up watching it every couple of years. It is absolutely a horror movie, the very first Alien. The other ones, it's now questionable, and you start going into subgenres. The first one's a horror movie.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't fight me about it, Chuck. Don't you fight me about it.
I'm
if not, here's the quarter. Go meet me outside. Let's go do this in real person.
I'm trying to get my
What's up, Chuck? Other than that, thank you guys for watching another episode. You can watch us on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, share. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram at Not a Strong Start. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Other than that, it's me, D Dizzle.
Oh, it's me, C Dizzle.
Jose Ramos, no Izzo.
Boo.
I think he's got a little bit of Izzle, but that's up for debate.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you guys. Catch us next time.